In this episode, we're going to talk about shadow work. Shadow work is the parts of yourself that you repress, the parts of yourself that you're shameful about, the parts of yourself that you hide, and understanding why you feel the way you feel, why you like what you like, why you do what you do. Doing the shadow work is not to deny it, but it's actually to accept it. But we're going to talk about it more after the intro. All right, so we back. So let's talk about shadow work. And in order to do shadow work, you got to self-reflect. You have to take the time to reflect on your character, your behavior, and analyze the reasons and the cause of that behavior or the cause of that character. You ask questions like, what's the outcome of you behaving this way or thinking this way? And is it effective? You also ask yourself, what can you do about it? The shadow work it's the repressing parts of ourselves. And you have to bring those things to the surface. Shadow work requires self-honesty. It requires acknowledgement of your fears, insecurities, things that you're shameful for, things that you get jealous about, angry about, and judgment. When you're doing shadow work, you got to reflect on those past mistakes and present mistakes and understand them and forgive yourself. Forgive yourself for being who you are. Some people don't like who they are, but you have to forgive yourself for who you are. Forgive yourself for the parts of you that you don't like, and just accept that those are parts of you. And if those are things that you want to change and you can do something about it, then do something about it and change it. Most of us give off or show the world a persona because we show face for the public, because people have a tendency to judge. So we put on our game face, some of us will call it, we put our mask, we put our game face on, you know what I'm saying? Or we put the mask on when we step outside the house. But through the midst of all of that, there's still a part of you that you don't like. There's a part of you that you deny. You have to sit up here and identify your negative personal traits as well as the negative traits society has instilled in you. You have to understand society, your childhood, various relationships, and the influence that these things have had in your life, had in your interactions, and that has made you who you are. Doing shadow work, that's just one way. It's one way to explore the characteristics about yourself or a person. A lot of people, some people don't want to do shadow work because they're scared to discover truths about themselves. A lot of people don't want to acknowledge some of the characteristic traits or personality traits that they have. They deny it, or they don't want to face it. They don't want to take accountability, but it's a part of who they are. It's a part of how they act. It's a part of what they do. So when you're doing shadow work, you have to acknowledge your flaws. You have to acknowledge them. And if you're able to change them, change them. If you don't like it, change it. But if it's a part of you that's in the core of you and you're not able to change it, then you have to get to a place where you accept that that's who you are and that's a part of you. And more than likely, it's not going to change. In the process, you have to ask yourself, what are your biggest triggers? Where do certain feelings come from? What are your negative self-images or thoughts about yourself? When you are angry at others, what things do you think about? Shadow work is definitely a way of figuring out who you are. And shadow work and self-reflection pretty much go hand in hand. The difference between self-reflection and shadow work is that shadow work is uncovering the traits that hide in the shadows, bringing them to the forefront, acknowledging them and understanding why you have those traits, learning how to work within the lines, the sort of say, learning to not deny them, but how to utilize them to the best of your ability. If you like this episode, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, and we out.